This is Sean O'Malley, and you're watching Full-Time MMA. Don't be a bagel-biting, bagel-bitch boy, bagel-bitch back.
Back to the daily grind, and shout out to the full-time patrons. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, because you know what time it is. It's full-time
MMA.
Oh my god, full-time family. I just paid my fucking internet bill. Yeah, that's where I've been, full-time family. Shit got shut off last night. It was crazy. I was watching the Come Get This Work mobcast. My shit just went dark. I was like, what happened? Internet bill was due. So I had to wait till this morning till we could get that paid, and the first thing I see when I turn my shit on, Nicco Montano versus Valentina Shevchenko title fight is off of UFC 228. Oh my lord, I think Nicco Montano was hospitalized. I don't know if it was from fright or if it was from the weight cut. Either way, this fight was already prolonged. People already thought Nicco Montano was ducking Valentina Shevchenko before this fight. Like, she had an ankle injury and then tonsillitis, and then people were still wondering, will Nicco Montano make it to the fight? Nicco Montano even said Valentina Shevchenko is in La La Land if she thinks she's not going to show up. And lo and behold, she's not showing up. She was hospitalized, probably didn't want to go in and get embarrassed as a UFC champion. If you think about it, I mean, we talked about this on multiple live panels now. Nicco Montano could very well be the weakest UFC champion ever. She's only got like 6 pro fights, 7 on whatever website you're looking at, 6 on some. But she won the belt off of the Ultimate Fighter finale. I mean, off the Ultimate Fighter Season 26, where it was a bunch of girls who really weren't in the UFC yet, and they got together and they fought, and the winner got crowned champion. And none of those girls were on the level of, say, like a Valentina Shevchenko, or even some of the girls that are coming up now in the flyweight division. Alexis Davis, Caitlin Chukagian, Jessica Ai. We could go on and on with the girls that have moved down from 135 or up from 115 that are now finding themselves in this new 125-pound division that are actual UFC caliber fighters, and we just don't know if that's the case with Nicco Montano. Now, she did win 3 fights on the Ultimate Fighter house, but I think a couple of those were 2-round fights, and they weren't really against the toughest girls in the UFC, and so people were really picking her to potentially come in here and get steamrolled. Hell, a fight that I think would be better than this would be Nicco Montano versus Priscilla Cachoeira, who we just saw Valentina Shevchenko come in and she brutalized her, Priscilla Cachoeira in that fight. She looked like Valentina Nurmagomedov and shit. And so now, holy smokes, lo and behold, the fight is off. And let's read what's going on. It says, there will not be a second title fight Saturday. And the UFC, they probably saw this coming. I'm going to tell you why I know the UFC saw this coming. They were not confident in Nicco Montano showing up to this fight. Reason I know that is because they were so desperate for a second title fight. If you remember, they were so desperate they put Darren Till in a title shot no one expected. Even himself, he didn't think he was getting a damn title shot next. But since Colby Covington wasn't available, the UFC needed a title fight for UFC 228. And some of us were thinking, wait, you already have one. Nicco versus Valentina. Why do we need a second title fight? Well, because what would have happened if we didn't have Woodley versus Till and now Nicco doesn't show up? They might have fucked around and had to cancel this whole pay-per-view. And Ariel Helwani did report not too long ago, actually pissed Nicco off. If you remember, she went on that whole scathing rant at Ariel Helwani, called him out of his name and all type of shit. But he said that the UFC was getting frustrated with Nicco's reluctance to fight Valentina, or with her reluctance to sign the contract, all the time it was taking. And of course, she had the multiple injuries, and Dana White came out and said, no, Ariel don't know what he's talking about. Ariel usually knows what he's talking about. And now the way things have played out, you can kind of see the UFC clearly wasn't too confident in her showing up to the fight, which is why they booked a second title fight, and boom, the fight is off. So Nicco's injured. I'm sure she's gonna have a doctor's note. I can go get a doctor's note for work if I need it, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's what this is, because this is another one of those convenient injuries. I talk about these all the fucking time, these convenient injuries. Whether it's a fighter that's just injured so they don't have to fight until they can potentially get a title fight, or, these fighters get these injuries that are just super convenient sometimes. You can't really question them because they're injured. Fucking Yair Rodriguez just got injured out of the fight with Zabit. Someone he wasn't super dope, hyped up about fighting. It was hard for the UFC to book that match. Now it's booked, he's injured. It was hard for the UFC to book this match. Now it's booked, she's injured. So we see these convenient injuries, and as a fan, you can't really say, oh, you're not injured, because injuries do happen. You know, so it is what it is, but Nicco's out. It remains unclear what Nicco Montano's condition is when she was headed to the hospital. Some people say pussyitis. Oh, that's not an article. But the timing fits with something related to illness due to weight cut. And get the... I'm going to wait till I give my thoughts on her having a bad weight, because she made fucking weight 3 times on the Tough House within like a month or two. So... And she's fought at bantamweight before, but she's made weight at 125 many times. So it would be interesting if you conveniently had a tough weight cut. She was probably eating extra salt and shit. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, as a precautionary measure, UFC flyweight Nicco Montano was transported to a medical facility Friday morning due to health concerns. The scheduled championship bout between Montano and Valentina Shevchenko at UFC 228 has been canceled. And so there you have it, full-time family. That's all I'm going to say on this topic. I'm about to go live. I have to be to work in about 2 hours. Impromptu. I got a shift. Internet was off, so I got to fucking, you know, schedule this live stream very impromptu. So if you hear this video, by the time you're done, I'll probably be live on the channel. So make sure you tune in. Say what's up. It is what it is, man. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comments.
Da 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 da. It's the motherfucking DOWG.